So it's important that you know that it's against the law of God for you to engage in premarital sex. And usually it's for your good. It's because God loves you. That's why he's saying to. Why? Because it's a protection plan. It's God's protection plan that you stay away from premarital sex. So why? Number one, God's law. It's against God's law to do sex before marriage. Number two, it's a protection plan, like I said. Now, let me explain that. Let me break it down. Someone who you are in secondary school with, maybe a classmate, someone that was in your class or in your level or maybe higher level in secondary school. Let's say you have sex with that person, you meet another person in university, you have sex with three, four, five, six people, finish university, start working, you have sex with multiple people again. At the end of the day, you've had, let's say, body count of 20. Some people have much more, some people have less, maybe five. They've slept with five people, four people. It enriches your sexual experience, right? And then when it's time for marriage and you marry one person, that person may not have had such experiences, and so you are bringing experiences that are not needed into your marriage as a married person years down the line. And you may feel, oh, it doesn't mean, after all, I've tested it, so I will teach him or I will teach her. But the truth is, you've gathered experiences that would not necessarily help your marriage. Some will say, how do I know when, what if he's not potent or things like that? The truth is that God's law, God can never lie. God's law is always true. God's law is always true. Shall we encourage you, if you feel like that and feel like, oh, I feel shortchanged if I don't sleep with someone before marriage, it is against God's law and it's a protection plan for you, because at the end of the day, you slept with five people, 10 people, 11 people. Number one, there are diseases associated. Number two, pregnancy can result. Number three, it just spoils you. It spoils your social atmosphere, or your let's even talk of your mental atmosphere. Please, can I get charger? It's on the floor. Sorry. So it spoils your mental atmosphere, meaning you see young people that the only thing they think of is sex. So when they meet a guy and people are talking of something more relevant, something educational, something, something educational, something on career, all they can see is sex. And that's where there's a problem, because they're only thinking of sex. That's where their mind is. Their mind has been rerouted into just sex. That's the only thing that comes to mind, nothing else. And that is such a big mistake. It's such a big mistake. Wow. It's such a big mistake that the only thing you talk about as a young person is sex. It's such a big mistake. So your emotional, it can mess up your emotional life, your mental life. That when you meet people, that's the only thing your mind goes to. That's the first thing your mind goes to. How would this boy look like in bed? How would this girl look like in bed? And that is such a wrong way to think. So we've talked about emotional, we've talked about medical, it comes with all sorts of medical issues. Then what else again? You are also coming with experience that you don't need in marriage. And if you now marry someone who has no experience, you've prepared for something that you don't need to prepare for, because you are coming with 1,000 experience and this person has no experience. That's where people now start talking about sexual incompatibility. No, it's just that you trained for what is not. You have too much experience and you're joining yourself with someone that has no experience. There will need to be some adjustment. There will need to be some level of patience. Hello, Omosefe, thank you for joining. There will need to be some level of adjustment. And so it's important that when God says we should flee sex before marriage, it's for your good. It's just a protection plan of God for your life. It's for your good, because God is protecting you from STDs, STIs. It's protecting you from pregnancy before marriage. It's protecting you from emotional issues, because ladies take sex as love, while guys take sex as something to relieve stress, right? And so you, at the end of the day, you are not on the same level. So a girl may have had sex with a guy, the guy has forgotten, he has moved on. For the girl, in the girl's mind, he loves me. But that's not always true. That's not always true. Sex is not love for a man, but sex can be love for a woman, at least for most women, right? So it's important that you you keep away from sex till marriage. It's a protection plan of God. It's a protection plan. It's a protection plan. And another thing is that another social impact of having sex before marriage is, for example, someone you've had sex with, maybe the brother now comes and wants to marry you. And there's such awkwardness. We see that in stories, in dramas. We even hear of that in real life. Because brother will be like, you can't marry that girl. So it brings all sorts that you don't even want to dabble in. So when God is saying no sex before marriage, it is for your good. Avoiding sex before marriage is for your good. Hello, GB Temi, thank you for joining. Is for your good. Okay, my second question here says, can I have a relationship while in school? My answer is no and yes. Now let me explain. I wouldn't advise young people in university or even secondary school. I don't advise them usually to go into relationship while in school. And these are my reasons. Number one, academics. Will your academics suffer? Because relationships take time, they take energy, they take, connection, they take a lot from you. You have to invest in relationship. It takes money, it takes resources, right? They take a lot from you. Are you ready to do that? And your academics will not suffer, because the number one reason you are going to university is for academic certification, for you to come out with a degree. So imagine you just throwing that out and focusing on relationship without balancing it. Your academics will suffer. I know life examples of young girls that joined this boy, became a girlfriend to a young man. And from 4 point something, she dropped down to 3 point something. She dropped down to 2 point something. I don't even know what level she is right now, because she cannot manage it. And the truth is that not everybody can manage relationship and academics together. It is difficult, except if someone is extremely brilliant and extremely can prioritize things. And also depends on the demand that relationship is putting on you. Because for some people, maybe they see their boyfriend or girlfriend once a week, they probably read together, they probably go out together, hang out for a few hours, and that's all for the week. For some other people, they spend about 3 or 4 hours together every day. Now, that time is supposed to be used for academics, supposed to be used for other things that pertain to your academics. But if you are investing 3 or 4 hours every day, 7 days a week into a relationship, it will affect your academics. There's no way it will affect you. So can you handle it and your academics? If you can't handle it, my advice to you is that you leave that relationship. Because that's not the reason you came to school. You didn't come to school to get a boyfriend certificate or a girlfriend certificate or a marriage certificate. You came to school to get an academic certificate. So focus on it. That does not mean you will not be friends with boys as a young girl. That does not mean you will not be friends with ladies as a young man. No, it means that you will draw the line. You are friends, you gist, you go to class together, you read together, you do stuff together, you visit, hang out together, have fun together, go out. But you draw the line when it's coming to say you are my boyfriend or you are my girlfriend. You're able to say no. I'm here for school. We can be friends. I don't hate you, but I want to stay away from relationships. So that's why I said my second question. The third question says, how do I keep away from negative friends? How do you keep away from negative friends? If those friends are not where you are going to, if their character are not where you are going to, by all means, you should keep away. But how? Number one, you can begin to avoid them. You can begin to avoid them, meaning that there'll be times they'll call you and say, babe, let's go and do this. Babes, let's go and hang out. Babe, you can say, please, no, I'm not available. They can say, oh, let's meet somewhere. Say, oh, sorry, I won't be available. You can begin to cut the time you spend with them with the way you make yourself available. You can begin to cut down on your availability with them, so that you are not always available for them to influence you. You can also begin to move deliberately into the circles you want to be in, into positive influence, meaning you know this group of girls, they have good character. You know this group of girls, they are doing well academically. Go into their circle. Start telling them, hey, I want to read with you. I want to hang out with you. Approach them. Approach them. Hang out with them. Before you know, you are changing where you were into where you want to be in. Because the truth is that whoever it is that is your friend, you will have their reward. So think about the kind of friends you have. What do you think their reward is? If you follow them, you have their reward. If you follow them, you end up where you're ending up. So do you want to end up where that your friend is ending up? If your answer is no, then you're in the wrong circle of friends. If you don't want to have their reward, then you're in the wrong circle of friends. You need to change your circle. You need to change your circle. Okay, so that's what I would say to keep away from negative friends, reduce your availability, and basically just then begin to filter gently into another group or another set of people that have your values. Very, very important. Number four question says, how can I prepare for my future? This is a very big one and a broad one. How can I prepare for my future? As a young person in the university or about to enter or you just finished, how can you prepare for the future? I think the first thing I would say is that you need to discover your purpose, meaning you need to understand who you are and why God sent you here. So it will start with prayer, it will start with research, look at yourself, look at what God is telling you to do. So, first thing, know your purpose. So, for you to even prepare for the future, how can you prepare for a future you don't know? So at least know your purpose so that you know what to expect and know what lines God is leading you into. You will not have the clear picture, you will not have the full picture, but at least have an idea so that when things are coming, you know what to reject, you know what to open your heart to. So it's important, number one, you begin to clarify your purpose. What is God sending me here to do? Why am I alive? What area is God sending me to? Once you begin to work on those areas, chances are you will begin to open your heart up and open yourself up to opportunities in that area. So, first, pray and know your purpose. Number two, for a young person, learning. That's a great way to prepare for your future. Learn. Be an avid learner. Be an avid learner. Learn. What do I mean by that? Register for courses, read books, because I know now it's difficult for a lot of people to sit down and read books for everybody, both young and old, but you have to be deliberate. If you know you it's difficult for you to sit down and read, why don't you go for audio books and listen to the knowledge? If that is not possible, why don't you go for courses that talk about that area you want to grow in? So listen for knowledge, read books, learn. Number two, if you want to prepare for your future, you must be a learner. You must be a learner. You can't be a young person and you know how to do only one thing or know how to do only two things. Learn. Keep learning, keep improving your skills. Be an avid learner. Never tired of learning. For example, this is the month of May. Since January till May, you ought to have learned at least one or two or three things. What have you learned this year? Learn. A lot of times, opportunities will come to you in areas you have learned, in areas you have built capacity in. So learn. Don't give yourself excuses. Keep learning. Take courses, physical courses, learn how to do stuff, whether it's cooking, whether it's online tech skills, online business skills. Just keep learning and particularly learn in direction of your purpose. And once in a while, when you are bored with that, learn something outside your purpose just to broaden your understanding. So, as a young person, a great way to prepare for your future is learning. Be an avid learner, no excuses. There are many free trainings. I know there are also a lot of paid trainings, but I also know there are many free trainings. So, no excuses. Learn. Make sure you are learning. Make sure you are learning. It will make your journey easier. Make sure you are learning. Number three, I said number one, ask God so that you know your purpose. Number two, learn. Number three, have a growth mindset. Don't be short. Some young people are short. Oh, this is all I know. This is what I know. Mm-mm. This may be what I know now, but I'm open to more. So have a growth mindset. Have a growth mindset, meaning, Lord, I want to know more. I want to know more in this area. I want to know more in that area. And don't shut down ideas. There'll be many times ideas will come to you that don't make sense. Ideas will come to you that are like opposite what you even imagine. They're like, is this thing even possible? But guess what? God may have dropped that idea in your heart because He knows it's possible and He wants you to stretch. He wants you to stretch. I'm sure when the idea to start makeup by the great woman Tara Fela Durotoye, when that idea came, I'm sure it was not popular. There was nobody doing it in Nigeria, at least. There was nobody. But that idea came must have been like, who is doing this? What does this mean? Would this thing make sense? It must have been an idea that was not in tandem with what was happening in her time. But guess what? She took that idea and ran with it because she had a growth mindset. A growth mindset. So keep growing your mind so that as ideas come, you won't shut it down and say, it's not me, I can't do that too. I'm shy. I can't do that. No. As ideas come, begin to work on it. So have growth mindset. Those are my 3 points for anybody that wants to prepare for their future. Ask God so that you know your purpose. Number two, learn. Number three, have a growth mindset. Let me add a bonus to that. Have values. Have values because a lot of things will come in your journey. Some people may offer you something beautiful, but on a platter of evil, meaning they can say, you know what, you want to make 1 million, right? If you dance naked, dance nude, remove all your clothes, I'll give you 1 million, right? So 1 million is a good thing, but dancing naked is against your values. And so even though you want the 1 million, you won't dance naked to get it because it's against your value. So build a value system as you prepare for the future. Build a value system. Some people say, okay, not to worry, I won't tell you to dance naked, but would you be reducing, let's say you work with a boss and 10 million comes every week, and that person say, okay, you know what, can you be taking out 1 million or take 100,000, taking it out, taking it out. We'll share it. We'll share it. Don't worry. We'll share the commission. That person is encouraging you to do fraud. And if you have a value system, you would not agree to anything that will be against your value, right? And so build value system. So four things: preparing for the future, your purpose, learn, growth mindset, and have a value system. And the last question for tonight: are there really benefits of remaining a virgin in times we live in, particularly with the deception of men who have erectile dysfunction? The truth is, some people are not truthful. Some people, so a man that lies and gets into marriage and now confesses in marriage that he has erectile dysfunction, that person is a dishonest person. And it has nothing to do with your being a virgin. Being a virgin or keeping yourself pure till marriage, even if you're not a virgin now, but you want to keep yourself pure till marriage, is a law of God. You are upholding a law of God, and God blesses us when we obey. God blesses us whenever we obey. So that's great. But marrying someone who is dishonest, that would be, that would begin to, that lied about his body, lied about what's happening with him, that's a different matter. It means the person is dishonest, it means the person lied. It has nothing to do with you being a virgin. Don't say, oh, if I was not a virgin, I would have tested, I would have avoided it. No, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that that person needs to come clean, or people with problems like that. If you have any problem, reproductive or whatever it is, before marriage, disclose to your partner. Disclose. So if they can take it, they will take it. they will decide, I want to go ahead. I know, and I'm going ahead still. And if they cannot take it at that point before marriage, they can you can both go your separate ways. And no problem, that's fine. That's fine, because it's important to know what you can take and what you cannot take before you get into marriage. So that you don't get there and you're like, this is not for me. And that's why you see people divorcing after a few months of marriage or 1 year of marriage. It says a lot about their courtship um, stage. It means they didn't really know themselves. They didn't really do courtship the way courtship should be done. One of these days we are going to discuss how courtship should be done. So it means really did not discuss how they want to live their lives in different areas of life. They didn't ask the right questions. And this is so critical. You've got to be asking the right questions. You've got to be. You can't assume. You've got to be asking the right questions. So that will be all from concerning questions today. So anybody that finds themselves in such a situation, my counsel to you would be that you forgive the person, but go for counseling basically. If you get married to someone who had some erectile dysfunction and didn't disclose before marriage, go for counseling, go for counseling, go for counseling. I won't give you a direct answer, because you need counseling. You need to sit with someone who would begin to work with two of you to get to a conclusion or a reasonable, end where nobody is disadvantaged, right? Because you shouldn't joke with the covenant of marriage. Yes, you should not die there from domestic violence or anything like that. But at the same time, you should not be quick to separate and say, I'm tired, I can't take it. Irreconcilable differences. No, no. It was a vow. It was a vow. Okay? So those are our questions for today. And before I go again, I'm going to remind you that my book is out, Tips to Succeed in Tertiary Institutions. If you're about to go into the university or you're already in the university, have you read my book? It is such a blessing and blessing young people all over the world. So make sure you get a copy. Go to seller, selar.co/m/blessing16 and order yours today. It will be such a blessing to you. So thank you everyone for joining me today on Empowered with Counselor B. All through this month of May, we are answering questions. So feel free to send in your questions. We are ready to answer you. So till I come your way next time, thank you so much for joining. We'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. See you later.